Ever imagined rehearsing for like almost anything that could go wrong on a flight?
Yeah.
I'm talking engine failure out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Soprane's drone swarms.
Right.
Even like navigating a blizzard at 30,000 feet.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of wild to think about, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today.
Okay.
Stochastic simulations.
Cool.
They're basically like what-if machines,
Okay.
but on steroids.
Yeah.
And they're totally changing how we design, fly, and manage air travel.
And we're using a really cool LinkedIn article to guide us through all this, Flying Through Chaos.
Oh, nice.
By Lynn Frederick D'Souza, who's the founder and director of ESPIRIDI.
Okay.
So get ready to see how this tech is making flying safer, but also like really pushing the boundaries of what's even possible up there in the clouds.
So let's just jump right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
First things first, we got to decode this whole stochastic simulation thing.
Yeah.
It sounds a little complicated, but I have a feeling you're going to make it crystal clear.
Sure. I think a good way to think about it is by comparing it to something we all know, planning a road trip.
Oh, okay.
Like the old school deterministic simulations are like your GPS.
Okay.
That tells you you'll be there in exactly 5 hours, no detours.
Right.
But we all know that's not how it usually goes.
Oh, tell me about it. Unexpected traffic jams,
Right.
construction detours,
Yeah.
sudden urge for coffee.
Exactly. So that's where stochastic simulations come in. They're more like that friend who knows all the back roads and gives you options.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, they factor in things like traffic patterns, weather changes.
Okay.
Even like the likelihood of you needing a caffeine fix.
Right. It's like real life.
Exactly. They give you a range of possible outcomes
Okay.
and alternative routes.
So basically, they bring in that life happens element into the picture.
Yeah.
Which is especially important when you're dealing with something as complex as, aviation.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, the article really gets into how stochastic simulations are helping us tackle one of the biggest, wild cards in flying.
Right.
The weather.
Absolutely weather.
Yeah.
It's notoriously unpredictable, but these simulations use tons of real historical weather data
Wow.
to create thousands of these what-if scenarios.
Okay.
They're not just looking at, like, the averages.
Oh.
They're figuring out the odds of anything from,
Right.
mild turbulence to those crazy thunderstorms.
Yeah. The ones that make you grab the armrest.
Exactly.
So airlines can basically run through all these different weather scenarios.
Right.
And be more prepared for whatever Mother Nature kind of throws at them.
Precisely. And that means pilots can get insights into the best reroutes,
Okay.
adjust fuel plans mid-flight,
Right.
and even optimize arrival times to minimize those annoying delays.
That's got to be incredibly valuable,
Yeah,
both for safety and efficiency.
for sure.
Now, this next challenge is something that always makes me picture like a giant game of air traffic Tetris.
Uh-huh.
Managing all those planes in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Especially around busy airports.
Right.
Things get really intense up there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's like a constantly moving puzzle with thousands of pieces.
Yeah.
But stochastic simulations take air traffic management to a whole new level.
Okay.
Instead of just working with fixed schedules, they factor in those unexpected things that just kind of pop up.
So things like sudden flight delays,
Yeah.
unexpected reroutes, equipment glitches.
Exactly. They even consider things like congestion around major hubs.
Oh,
Making sure controllers can actually anticipate and manage those pressure points
right.
before they become a full-blown traffic jam up in the sky.
So it's like they're giving air traffic controllers a superpower.
Yeah.
The ability to see a few moves ahead.
Right.
And keep everything flowing smoothly, even when it's chaotic.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Now let's zoom in on the cockpit for a second.
Okay.
And talk about how these stochastic simulations are changing the game when it comes to pilot training.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
I read that they're going way beyond those standard engine out drills.
Oh, yeah. Imagine simulating an engine failure.
Yeah.
Not just once, but hundreds of times,
Okay.
each with different altitudes, weather conditions, and phases of flight.
So pilots aren't just learning, like, what to do if an engine fails.
Right.
They're learning how the plane will actually react differently in all kinds of scenarios.
Precisely. It's like having a super realistic flight simulator that can throw any curveball their way.
I like that.
So they can practice making these split-second decisions under pressure.
Okay.
And that level of preparedness is really pushing the boundaries of aviation safety.
So it's almost like they're getting a crash course in every possible what if.
Yeah.
So they can just react instinctively and confidently no matter what happens.
And remember how we talked about those unpredictable weather scenarios?
Oh, yeah. Right.
Pilots can use these simulations to practice flying through turbulence, wind shear, even those tricky crosswinds you get on landings.
It's like taking their skills to a whole new level.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, before we move on, I got to ask about, I guess, the elephant in the room, or should I say the fuel tank on the wing?
Yeah.
The article mentions that stochastic simulations are also helping airlines get a handle on their fuel usage.
Oh, absolutely. By crunching all the numbers on things like flight time, passenger load, weather variations, all those factors, they can actually predict the optimal amount of fuel needed for each flight.
Okay, so it's like they're trying to find that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Between carrying too much, which wastes fuel and money, and not carrying enough, which, well, we don't even want to think about that.
No, not at all.
So it's a win-win-win situation.
Yeah.
Airlines save money. Emissions are reduced.
For sure.
And potentially, ticket prices stay more stable for us folks on the ground.
Exactly. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And these simulations are showing that even tiny optimizations can have a huge impact.
Okay, so we've talked about safety, efficiency, training.
Yeah.
It's clear that stochastic simulations are already making a big difference.
For sure.
But now I want to get into, like, the really cool stuff. How these simulations are shaping the future of aviation.
Okay.
Like, what kind of crazy possibilities are we talking about here?
Well, get ready, because this is where we start pushing the boundaries.
Okay.
Stochastic simulations aren't just about managing risk.
Okay.
They're about unlocking innovation.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Think about it. Imagine engineers being able to test brand new aircraft designs.
Oh, yeah?
Cutting-edge navigation systems. Even, like, radical new autopilot protocols.
Wow.
All before they even leave the ground.
They're basically building this giant virtual sandbox.
Yeah.
Where they can experiment
Right.
and really push the limits.
Right.
While making sure that safety is still the top priority.
Exactly. And the coolest part,
Yeah.
they can run these designs through tons of unpredictable scenarios.
Okay.
From perfectly calm skies to bird strikes
Wow.
to system failures.
It's like a crystal ball.
Yeah, it's like having a crystal ball
Yeah.
showing them how their creations will perform in the real world
Right.
if they ever even take flight.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
This is starting to feel less like science fiction.
Right.
And more like the very near future.
I know, it's crazy, right?
And I have a feeling things are about to get even more mind-blowing because we start talking about how AI and big data are going to supercharge this whole thing.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how these stochastic simulations are giving engineers this power to test all sorts of crazy aviation ideas in a super safe virtual space.
Right, it's like that flight simulator on hyperdrive that we were talking about, letting them see how these cutting-edge designs hold up against basically anything.
Right.
But now I'm ready to hear how AI and big data are going to, like, supercharge this whole thing.
Okay, yeah.
It almost sounds too futuristic to be true.
Oh, it's definitely happening, and it's going to get wild. Just imagine aircrafts that can practically think for themselves.
Wow.
Making decisions in real time based on this constant stream of data and understanding, like, probabilities in a way that would make a supercomputer jealous.
Well, are we talking about planes that can basically outsmart even, like, the most, seasoned pilot?
Not outsmart, but definitely augment their abilities. Like, think of a plane that can, like, automatically reroute itself to avoid a sudden patch of turbulence. Or adjust its flight path on the fly to get the best fuel efficiency based on changing winds and weather.
Okay, now that's just cool. So we're talking about a plane with basically a super-powered brain.
Yeah.
That's constantly analyzing, like, every scenario.
Every possible scenario.
But choosing the safest, most efficient course of action.
You got it. And all of this is driven by these AI-powered stochastic simulations that are constantly crunching massive amounts of data from all over the place. Weather stations, air traffic control systems, even sensors on the plane itself.
It's like having a team of expert analysts working behind the scenes.
Totally.
To make sure you have the safest, smoothest flight possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this seriously sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
But you're saying these advancements aren't just some distant dream, right? They're actually happening right now.
Absolutely. We're already seeing these technologies being built into aircraft designs and air traffic management systems.
Wow.
And as AI and data processing power continues to evolve, I mean, the possibilities are pretty much limitless.
So in the not-so-distant future, when I'm sitting on a plane, sipping my ginger ale,
right,
a lot of the complex decision-making could actually be handled by these AI-driven systems.
Exactly. Pilots will still play a super important role, of course.
Okay, good.
They'll be there to oversee everything, make those critical judgment calls, and really ensure passenger safety.
But the AI can kind of handle the heavy lifting.
The heavy lifting, exactly.
Okay.
Freeing up pilots to really focus on the big picture and deal with any of those unexpected curveballs that even the smartest AI might not be able to anticipate.
Okay, I have to admit, this is all super exciting.
Yeah.
But I also have to ask, how do we know these AI systems are going to be safe?
That's a great question.
And reliable?
Yeah.
We're talking about putting a lot of trust in these what-if machines.
Right. And it's one that researchers and engineers are taking very, very seriously.
Okay.
One of the keys here is like really rigorous testing and validation.
Right.
Think of it like putting these AI systems through boot camp.
Okay.
But on a digital scale.
So we're talking about throwing every possible scenario at them, like crazy weather events, equipment failures, even like cyber attacks.
You got it. We're talking about building these ultra-realistic virtual environments that mimic every single aspect of a real-world flight.
Wow.
And these AI systems need to prove they can handle all of those challenges safely and effectively before they're even considered for the real deal.
So it sounds like we're on the verge of like a major shift in aviation.
I think so.
But this level of autonomy, it raises some pretty big questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what does this mean for the role of pilots in the future?
Right.
Are they going to become obsolete?
That's a big question that's being debated right now.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't see pilots being replaced anytime soon.
Okay, good.
I think it's more about a shift in responsibilities, a new kind of partnership between humans and machines.
So pilots become more like captains, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Overseeing the ship, making those really crucial decisions.
Right.
While the AI handles those day-to-day operations.
Exactly. It's all about combining the best of both worlds.
Right.
The AI's processing power and ability to just analyze tons and tons of data with the pilot's experience, judgment, and that ability to adapt to those unpredictable situations that even the smartest AI might not be able to fully anticipate.
That makes sense. And this partnership, it could lead to some pretty cool benefits, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not just for the pilots, but for the passengers, too.
Absolutely. For pilots, it means less workload, less stress, and more opportunity to really focus on those critical aspects of safety that require, like, human intuition and decision-making.
And for passengers, it could mean fewer delays, smoother flights, and, hey, maybe even lower airfares down the line.
Potentially.
I mean, all those AI-powered fuel savings have to go somewhere, right?
Right.
So even though the idea of like more autonomous aircraft might seem a little daunting, it's important to remember that these advancements are ultimately about making flying safer, more efficient, and maybe even, a little bit more enjoyable for everyone on board.
For sure. But there's one more piece of this puzzle we need to talk about.
Okay.
Like the elephant in the room.
You mean like, are we, the passengers, even going to have a say in how much autonomy we're comfortable with?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Welcome back. It feels like we've gone like deep down the rabbit hole with these stochastic simulations.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much this tech is already changing things in aviation.
Right.
From how pilots train for emergencies to how airlines handle those crazy weather patterns.
Oh, yeah.
We all know them and sometimes dread them.
Absolutely.
And then there's that whole like AI mind meld happening like with planes leading to these super smart aircraft that can practically think on their own.
It's wild.
It's mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
But it definitely brings up some big questions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, where do we, the passengers, fit into all of this?
Because at the end of the day, we're the ones, like, buckling up and putting our trust in these machines.
Right.
Hoping for a smooth ride.
Yeah.
And it is a little unsettling to think that the plane itself might be making some of those decisions.
Right.
Even if it is based on all this powerful, data and calculations.
Are we even going to have a choice?
Right.
Will we be able to say, hey, I want the flight with an actual human pilot?
Yeah.
Or are we going to just have to kind of accept that AI is calling the shots up there?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
It gets into some really interesting ethical and societal questions, too. Like, will there be different levels of autonomy?
Right.
And how are the airlines going to tell passengers about that? You know? Like, are you going to have a little disclaimer on your ticket that says, this flight is 80% AI powered? Enjoy.
Huh. I can actually see that happening.
Right.
But seriously, there needs to be a lot more transparency.
Yeah, for sure.
So that we as passengers can understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
And feel comfortable with, whatever level of automation is involved.
This isn't just about the technology.
Right.
It's about trust.
Yeah.
Passengers need to be able to trust that these systems are safe,
right?
That they're reliable, and that they're actually working for them.
Yeah.
In their best interest.
And that trust has to be earned.
It does.
It's going to take, I think, a lot of open communication from airlines.
Yes, definitely.
Clear explanations about how all this works.
Yeah.
And probably even chances for us, as passengers, to give some feedback.
Right.
And help shape how this tech actually develops.
I think it's a two-way street. And honestly, this is a conversation that needs to be happening now.
Right.
Not 5 or 10 years down the road when these advancements are even more common.
It's funny.
Yeah.
We started this whole deep dive talking about stochastic simulations as these, what-if machines. But it seems like the biggest what-if is actually about us.
Yeah.
What kind of future do we want for aviation?
Yeah, good question.
And how do we want to, I guess, interact with these increasingly intelligent machines?
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a little bit daunting.
Right.
But it's definitely something we all need to be thinking about, especially as we're stepping onto those planes and, soaring into the future.
So as you get ready for that next flight, just take a second to think about all those things working behind the scenes to get you to your destination safely.
Absolutely.
Those stochastic simulations.
Right.
They're not just some abstract concept. They're actually changing how we fly, one what if at a time.
And who knows, maybe someday soon you'll be sharing the skies with an aircraft that can think for itself.
Yeah.
Making decisions based on probabilities and things that would make even the most experienced pilot, do a double take.
It's a wild, unpredictable future.
Yeah.
And it's unfolding as we speak.
Right in front of us.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Until next time. Keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and maybe keep a close eye on those in-flight announcements.
Good advice.
You never know what the future of flying might hold.